So I saw Belko Experiment, and it was Charlie. Charlie, you saw Ghost in the Shell.
Ooh.
How spooky was it?
It was pretty scary.
Oh, man. We got to convince Steve that our movies were...
Terrified.
Which movie was better. And that'll be on the other side of this little theme.
Are you ready for Movie Versus? Welcome to Movie Versus, the podcast where we pin two terrible movies in an all-out battle for the best of the worst. Here are your hosts, Tyler Lamb, Charlie Pixley, and Steve Channing. All on Movie Versus!
Hey, everybody. My name is Tyler Lamb, and this is Movie Versus, the podcast in defense of bad movies. And I am joined by my co-host, Steve Janik. Steve, how's it going?
It's going pretty good.
It's weird introducing you first when we're not sitting in the normal...
Yeah, we're in a... This is a nightmare.
We are in a line.
It's anarchy right now.
Oh, it's insane. We're holding our microphones. They're not on stands. I don't know how we're doing this. We're sitting on a bed. Steve,
Now we're balancing on logs in a Bengal tiger pit.
we're actually we're in a competition. We're all wearing flannel jackets.
I was gonna say,
holding hatchets.
Yeah, we're on the log rolling portion of the. After this, we're gonna do the caber toss and maybe some chainsaw.
And then we're gonna chug maple syrup.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm down with that.
There's Guy Ledouche over there on the sidelines broadcasting.
And then there's a beaver skinning competition. And that I'll explain that a little bit later. But then the other voice you hear is...
No, you won't. You will never explain. There's no explanation for that.
Yeah, 100 episodes from now, sure. You just got to stick with us till then.
And that voice is Charlie Pixley. What's up, Chuck?
I listened to the last episode, which I wasn't on, and I was a little disappointed. And by that, I mean I was really pissed in that you guys didn't mention that during the Animorphs change from Kevin to myself, you forgot the biggest thing is that I also gained a set of balls. And by that, I don't mean that Kevin has no balls. I just mean that he has one and I have three.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he has one. Wait, he has one set and you have three sets?
No, he has one ball and I have three balls.
Okay, so you need a full set.
I'm not a freak.
You're not abnormal.
I beg to differ.
I'm not normal.
And if audio is sounding weird, and if you're wondering why are they sitting in a line, it's because we're in the new. Well, no, we're not in the new studio. We're in a temporary studio for today, and it's because roommate Kevin has been promoted to landlord Kevin. And
yeah, now he's a dick.
he never answers his phone. He's never taken service requests. Everything's just going to shit. No, roommate Kevin / landlord Kevin is now a homeowner, and that's where we're at. And we just moved today.
The new home of the podcast.
Yeah, so everything is
better known as Kevin's home.
Everything is everywhere. So we're just sitting in my room recording this.
Because we had to get it to the fans.
Yeah,
I didn't like though that I saw when he was installing some of the furniture outside, he knocked over that tombstone that said like Chief Sitting Bull on it. So you guys might want to watch what kind of curses you have.
And also, I mean, it was Chief Sitting Bull, and in memory of all abortion victims.
Oh my God. Wow. All or just Native American?
Yep.
I think you know the answer to that question, Steve. You saw the tomb.
I did not. And I actually would like to distance myself as far from this as possible now.
I like the idea of Kevin seeing it, and just being like, and just kicking it over.
Fuck, what an eyesore.
I mean, you say you like that, Charlie.
They're not going to complain.
That's actually the most likely of outcomes.
Yeah, probably.
They're not going to complain. Second he kicks it over you. Ooh. Oh. His nose starts bleeding.
Sideways. Just like, oh God. Like into the air.
I think they're complaining. And this podcast is about movies, if you believe it.
Only movies.
And we
so that's the entire plot of Poltergeist. Carry on.
And And we see movies that are quote unquote bad, so under 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, and we tried to convince a third party that the movies are actually good. And
Today I get to be the third party.
yeah, Steve is the third party of this.
The party no one shows up
I was
for.
gonna say of yesteryear, but that wouldn't fit. So I still said it.
I was about to make a whole bunch of like really outdated How I Met Your Mother jokes.
I mean, how outdated?
I'm glad
that,
you didn't.
That show isn't that old. People are still watching it.
Yeah,
right?
but it's
Played out.
it's old. Like it's a specific enough joke, and the show's old enough that people would have to rewatch the series to understand what I was
I mean,
referring to.
I feel like How Much Your Mother is one of those. It's like The Office kind of on Netflix. Like it's not as popular as The Office as
Right.
far as Netflix viewing goes, but I mean, I think people will like binge it on Netflix because it's all on Netflix. It's one of those shows to just go all in on.
I respect that, and I would have done that.
Just like Nip Tuck, you know, that's a show to just go all in on. So go on Amazon and buy every single season if you.
Did we get sponsored by Nip Tuck recently?
I was wondering where my cup was.
Yeah, the show that ended probably over a decade ago by now. It sent us a sponsorship request.
They're just trying to
so
get it out
please
there.
buy.
It's actually
Nip
brought
Tuck.
to you by the Dr. Doom fan club.
yeah. What's that guy's name?
Julian McMahon.
There you go. Because
Yeah, sure.
I couldn't think of his name, but Victor Von Doom.
There's a reason.
Well, no, it's because when
From,
I look at him,
from Charmed fame.
from Victor Von Doom
no,
fame.
from Charmed
Fame.
fame. He was the demon Balthazar in Charmed.
Steve was so serious. No, you're wrong.
Sorry, my mom watches that show regularly at 8 in the morning on TNT.
Hey, they know drama, so
They do. Hey, boom.
goes the dynamite. So I saw Belko Experiment, and Charlie saw Ghost in the Shell. Steve,
And it's about time that we start talking about that.
so Steve, take the old reins.
Yeah,
Well-
my movie was about robots. Anyway, let's get back to business.
Everybody kill people in my movie. So, Dr. Doom.
Anyway, Charlie, tell me about your movie, because I feel like me and Tyler have been talking about stupid things for
Okay.
way too long at this point.
I can't remember. Are you familiar with the
I can't remember
animated
what my movie was
series at
about.
all?
It's been like 15 years since
Okay.
I've seen it.
So, short version is this is set in probably, I wouldn't be surprised if it's supposed to be like 50 years in the future or something. I don't believe it says. It's somewhere in,
Distant
in
future.
Japan, I think. Yeah. And this lady gets in an accident, and the only thing they can save is her brain. And they put it inside. Never mind. They put it inside like a fully robotic body. But this
That
is
is
the first
Scarlett
time they've
Johansson.
done it. That's like super completely
So
seamless.
why is
like
she
it looks.
complaining?
Yeah, I mean everybody throughout the movie too is telling her like, "Wow, they really did a good job on you."
Hey, you got an upgrade, 100%.
And they use her then as the lead of this. I believe it's called Sector 9. It's like kind of like a FBI, CIA, but more on the ground unit for Japan, I guess.
So she's
solve,
basically
cyber
Jackie
crimes
Chan in
and
the
stuff like
tuxedo.
that. No, more like the rollerblade movie.
I was going to say more like Jackie Chan and the other Super Cop. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
No, actually, she's more like Chris Tucker in Rush Hour.
2.
Yeah.
Not 1 or 3, just
Just
2.
Anyway, sorry, Joe.
In The Fifth Element.
More like Chris Tucker in the...
So half of the script was
So,
I always forget he was in that movie.
I love it.
well, he had such a tame costume, you know.
Yeah, he was such a low profile character.
So anyway, and she starts dealing with like in the beginning of the movie, she thinks that she's just a robot essentially, and people keep telling her like, "Well, no, you know, you're still human because you still have the human mind, and that's essentially your soul because it's your personality and everything." She's like, "Well, I can't remember anything from my history,"
So fuck you.
and she works with a lot of people that almost everybody's enhanced with something like an arm or better eyes or a better
Collagen injection.
One guy even like it's like a fake liver so he can drink more.
Another
But that
guy-
doesn't make sense.
That's
'cause
a
then
real low bar for
you
body
couldn't get-
enhancement.
That's what I want.
You couldn't get drunk though.
That's yeah. Well,
So,
and
I
another
don't know.
guy, if I remember from the anime, another guy
You
is
just
just
get fat from the calories. Then if you
An-
just like boom, boom, boom.
another guy's face is just a security camera footage that's just zooming in on the bad guy's face. You said they're enhancements, so it's like enhanced.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That one was a stretch.
And one guy can just make anything go from 1 to 8 inches.
Anything.
Yeah, he just like shoots pills out of his mouth. So it's her kind of dealing with rediscovering her past and figuring out like, am I still really human? And how she kind of deals with that, and how the coworkers vice versa deal with like, okay, how some of them aren't enhanced and they're proud of that. They're like, no, I'm 100% human. Am I going to die earlier? Yeah, but I'm proud that like I don't have to use any of this extra stuff, because it almost seems like cheating if you do some of the stuff.
I mean, yeah. I assume that anytime you get those enhancements, you're immediately disqualified from the Olympics.
And so, does she ever
Yeah.
figure out if she's human or if she's dancer?
She definitely does. Well, there is
Let's
a strip
be honest.
club scene.
She is definitely both human and dancer.
She dances in the sense that somebody has her in a strip club champagne room and they tase her and they tell her to dance.
She dances in the sense that there's an entire dance sequence a la 1941.
I was thinking more flash dance. And she pulls the thing and the water goes down, but then she gets electrocuted.
Short circuits.
There's no John Belushi in Flashdance though.
Yeah.
Wait, John Belushi
That's-
was the good Belushi, right?
No.
Oh,
No, yeah, John Belushi
okay,
is
yeah.
the good Belushi.
Yeah, he's in that terrible Steven Spielberg movie then.
I mean, I guess if you guys like John more than Jim, you freaks.
Hey, well, according to Jim,
His show is garbage. Even he... No, I don't...
no, that was my joke.
just according to just the reference of saying
yeah,
according to Jim.
Just reminding people listening that is a show title.
Hey guys, Jim Belushi.
I like that. I
Hey,
like that.
samurai cutting, deli samurai. Samurai delicacy, whatever it is.
I like
Hotel,
that
too.
according to Jim was a more successful punchline than any of those written for the show.
Hey, so the second half of the movie is she thinks she's doing the right thing with these bullies, but then she finds this guy who's saying like, I was the first version of you, an earlier version of you, and that they did the same thing to me. Like they found me in an accident, they could salvage my brain, put me in this body, but it didn't work as well, and he was able to kind of break free. So then she kind of has to deal with like, okay, well, should I follow him and listen to this guy? And he's kind of
Break free of what, if you don't mind me asking? Are
It's-
they like?
it-
well, she starts seeing glitches and stuff that she doesn't understand, and
Well, that's just the
and-
Matrix.
well, and somebody's talking to her in the movie. She has like one good, essentially her partner, who's just talking to her like, why don't you?
Yeah, the
know
guy
him?
with the eyes.
She's like, yeah, why don't you? No, I'm serious. Like, well, oh, he has.
I know. I just remember the.
Gotcha. He kind of looks like the main bad guy in Men in Black 3.
I haven't seen.
So he was just asking. Oh wait, 3. So he was Jermaine Clement.
Yeah, well,
He
it's
was-
because of the eyes. He has like little things
Okay,
over his eyes.
I understand what you mean.
Where
Yeah.
you were-
Wait,
you were-
he's a bad guy though. I never saw the original Ghost in the Shell. I always thought he
No,
was
no, no,
like. I always thought he was. The
he was
partner
saying he
Yeah,
looked
just
like
a-
the bad guy.
Oh,
in
No,
okay,
like,
yeah.
it's the
I'm
partner,
sorry.
not
I'm
the bad
sorry.
guy in.
I misinterpreted
and,
whatever.
and he was
yeah,
saying
okay.
like, why don't you remember anything about your past? Like you should be able to remember. It's just your brain. She kind of gets curious about that, and he's telling her like, hey, this is fucked up what they did to you, all this stuff. So it's kind of the balance of finding, does she want to follow him and learn more about it, but then she kind of has to reject her.
And then
other life.
the regular storied history of anime of everyone's the bad guy.
You've seen the original? You said the original movie.
I've seen the original, but it was a long time. But in general, in like those early animes, like it's literally everyone's the bad. Like the person
Yeah.
that you think is your friend is a bad guy, and the person that tries to get you away from the bad guy is a different bad guy.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, this might be going off the rails, and I might have already mentioned it. I remember when Ghost in the Shell like kind of came out was when I was younger, and I mean younger by like
It was before you had made your decision on anime.
on just what genres of whatever I'm into. And I was like super. It was like late, like early high school, late middle school, and I was super into Dragon Ball Z, and like Inuyasha was like dope, and
Yes, it was.
like Toonami had a lot of cool stuff like Lupin the Third, all that. Like
Dude,
there was
don't get me started on Lupin the Third.
there was a lot of stuff that I
Yeah, I know this.
There's
shit
a lot of
too,
stuff
you guys.
there's a lot of stuff I enjoyed, and then I think it was around the time that Ghost in the Shell came out, at least in the States, and everybody's like, "Oh, Ghost in the Shell, that's what the pinnacle, you gotta see it." And my dad had Netflix when it was just DVDs, and he was like, "Oh, do you have any movies you want?" And I was like, "Oh, hey, Ghost in the Shell, put that on." And I had it for like weeks and never watched it. And he was eventually like, "Are you ever gonna watch this?" And I was like, "No, send it back." Then again, I was at a disadvantage because I always watched every movie that we got with him. I'm not gonna watch a movie and then go into my room and watch another movie before I go to bed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I remember seeing the trailers, and it's funny because the trailer for Ghost in the Shell, it's not really that funny, but actually at all. The one shot of Scarlet jumping out of the I hit a chord. That's like
Joke's on you was funny.
that's almost exactly the same as the shot in the anime, except I think in the anime she might have been like nude,
I think she was.
like nipples and all.
Another storied
I mean,
anime
And I
thing
think-
of just random nudity.
Well,
for
yeah,
no
and
reason.
I think that was even as like the age I was. That's something that kind of started to turn me off about anime was just like the
Awkward
ridiculous
fan service
the-
at times.
The ridiculous overproportion of like female characters, like huge tits, and then like they have to be nude, and then it just gets kind of like even if I'm by myself watching, I'm like, is somebody watching me? I feel like I feel weird. What is this?
At least in this movie, I feel like she wasn't nude. She was close to it a lot in like the skin suit. But to me, at least when I was watching, they made it to the sense where it kind of messes with your mind. And I think I could be wrong, but it was meant to be a little uncomfortable because like, oh, I'm watching her do this stuff naked, but it's kind of that almost the uncanny valley where it's this looks like a naked person.
She's supposed to be android.
Yeah.
Kinda. Like there's something wrong here. Oh, maybe because she has no nipples and no belly button. She's a real Kyle XY.
Damn it, I was about to say that. If you had not said that in the same breath, I would have been right on top.
I mean, Steve, you were putting that mic to your mouth to say that. And then Charlie kind of did a look like the cover of Kyle XY, like looking up into the. He only needed sunglasses.
And no belly button.
That movie's so dumb.
TV show.
Wait, Kyle X. Wait, the one. I'm thinking.
ABC Family.
What am I thinking of then?
I don't know.
It was
The
a Kevin
cover of
Spacey
Kyle
movie.
XY is set
Oh,
up.
you're thinking of oh crap.
Shit. Yeah, it has like,
It's the one where he just eats the banana with the peel on
and
it.
he's like an alien, and on the cover he
K-Fax.
has K-Fax.
Or
I knew-
K-Pax.
K-Pax. You're right. Yeah. Because I knew it had like a Kyle XY. What show was
It's a
what
show
Ki-
on like ABC Family, and the poster
was like
is
an
him just
alien or
standing there
something.
with his like holding his shirt up, and he has no belly button. That's like his
Shit.
only alien power.
All right. Well, then I definitely wouldn't have made that reference. I'm glad both of you were on that because our listeners needed it.
Yep.
Somebody
No-
was in their
no
car.
one needed
Somebody
it.
was in their car that if you didn't say that, it was like Kyle XY. Kyle XY.
Get ready for the biggest month ever, boys.
Yeah, just another canceled show from a decade ago that we're receiving money from to plug.
Yeah, and
Hey,
that
Joey.
that makes me want to. Hey, Steve, that reminds me. This episode brought to you by the Cape.
6 seasons in a movie.
Go check that out. I don't remember who. I don't know who played the main character, but
The main character was a nobody.
Summer Glau was in it.
Summer wasn't it? Well, I can't think of his name right now. It's Alex something.
Bald one.
MB
Trebek.
Skarsgård.
No,
Turner.
it's the guy who voiced Goliath in
Vin Diesel.
Gargoyles, and he was the guy that came in for that last season of Community.
Oh, you're talking about the voice of the Arbiter, Charlie. That'll help you
Keith
get me.
David.
Yeah, Keith Davidson. Keith David.
Yeah.
Just Keith David. Yeah. Okay. He's in that show.
Vern Troyer.
Yeah, he's the guy. He's the original holder of the cape that gives it to the guy.
I can't think of his name, so it's not going to be as funny. But the guy who sings "Chocolate Rain."
Oh, Dean.
Tay Zonde.
Yeah, Tezande.
This is how I got this
I
job,
know that
people.
one.
I knew it, but I couldn't think. I like downloaded his music at one point. Not.
I'm sure illegally.
I mean, that's the only way. He was like exclusive album now on Pirate Bay.
Anyway, do you need to tell me anything else about your movie, Charlie? I'm sorry. We have gotten so far off track.
And then I would say one of the third balances is then the company. There's like one major company, I believe it's called like Honka Robotics or something.
Monsanto.
Yeah, they technically own like her body, I believe, but then she works for the police though.
Those lucky sons.
Jesus.
I thought you said you didn't like anime for these reasons.
So,
Tyler.
It was a joke.
So
It
the
was a prank,
police,
dude.
she works for the police, but then they still kind of have a say in like what happens to her and stuff. 'Cause it's like, well, we're letting you work, or we're letting her work for you guys, but she's still like ours, kind of essentially. So then there's that kind of side.
So then there's like a how do you own? Well, I was about to say how do you own a person, and time to backtrack on that statement.
Well, I mean, she's just an android, Steve. What were you thinking? She's not a person. I guess that's the moral problem of our,
Well, yeah,
our
I-
androids people.
Yep.
Actually, it's funny it's not funny. I say that too often. We at my work we were talking about AI stuff, and we were talking about kind of that stuff where is an artificial intelligence a person? Because like if they're artificial intelligence, they have more like they have the access to all the internet at once, and it's a more quandary that can be brought up in a lot of movies with AI.
I don't think so, but I don't know if this is the right podcast to delve into that, because that would be hours and hours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
no, exactly. I was just saying that it makes sense that it is a somewhat common
Thing-
trope.
Yeah.
Because even in everyday life, it
And
can
we're
come
getting
up.
that Blade Runner sequel soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this podcast brought to you
That
by
shit
Blade
comes out-
Runner 2020.
That shit comes out in 2059, I thought. That's crazy, dude.
Man, they need some time with that. I hope they already shot all of the scenes with Ryan Gosling and
That CGI better be real fucking
and
good.
Harrison Ford.
They are having like some real like in-depth marketing
And Steve,
profusion.
and Steve, you said it. You told me that it would be okay for me to just watch that Blade Runner before I watch the original, right?
Uh-huh.
Because the original is like batshit stupid.
Zero reason to watch the old one if a new one's coming.
Exactly, and and all I've ever heard is the original Blade Runner is just garbage.
Yeah.
So
Because, like, it's just, you think it might be good, and then all that happens is some dude talks in the rain crying for a bit.
and then
it's
you're
ridiculous.
like, dude, Deacon
No
or
one cares.
Decan is totally a fucking android. I feel like that's a spoiler for one cut of the movie, but it's not a spoiler for a different cut of the movie. There's like 5 different cuts, and there's different endings for all of them.
So it's Clue.
You gotta piece together.
No, the movie Clue.
Yeah.
Not
okay.
a Clue.
Colonel Mustard is a replicant.
Wait, did Clue the movie have different endings?
Clue. Apparently, I didn't.
I've only seen the one.
Okay.
I've only seen one. Then
You've only seen.
I've
you've only
only
seen one.
watched the endings.
There's no if you watch Clue on DVD or even on Netflix, they go through like they do like the
I think-
this is what could have happened. This is what could have happened.
I think
this
I
is
watched
what-
it on demand.
Well,
Like it was like
Right.
like on
Gross,
Charter.
dude.
but at the end of Clue, it should do like this is what could have happened. This is what could have happened. This is what could have happened. This is what really happened, and that's the ending. But apparently, when the movie was released in theaters, those different "this is what could have happened" were endings in different parts of the country.
That's awesome.
Or something. So people would be like,
That-
"Hey, did you see Clue? It ended like this." I'm like, "No, it didn't. Did
That's-
you even watch this movie?"
I think that movie is highly underrated because I had never really heard about it until my adult life.
Clue is amazing.
It's great, and a little tidbit that the listeners don't really care about, but the Madeline, I've talked to her about her before, but her mom says, who knows if it's true? She says that Madeline's named after Madeline Kahn.
Oh,
So
wow, nice.
Yeah, she's apparently a huge fan.
I thought she was named after James Caan.
Well, no, Madeline Kahn was named after James Caan
No, Madeline was.
because her
Yeah,
mom was like,
Madeline.
She was like, I really want to name this next kid James after James Caan, and then she was born. They didn't have an ultrasound beforehand. And they're like, it's a girl, and she's like, damn it, James Caan, Madeline Caan, Madeline.
They actually wanted to name her after one of the worst kept secrets in any sci-fi movie of all time.
yeah, after Benedict Cumberbatch.
Anyway, Tyler, tell me about your movie
So
on this special 30-hour podcast.
yeah. So my movie is it's about a Belko experiment, which if you guys don't know,
Is a Belko experiment like a specific experiment, or was it
No,
just like
no,
the
it was-
Belko company?
yeah, it was the Belko company.
Okay, I just
And-
wasn't sure if there was like some sort of like
And-
psychological experiment referred to as the Belko experiment.
And Charlie, I know you weren't here for the trailers, but we watched the trailers and they were like, well, you were, because a part of the movie is they can, if they don't, they're like, okay, kill 30 people or else 60 of you die in this time frame. And they can kill them because they got the switchboard that blows up these motherfuckers' brains. And they're like, well, you remember they put that chip in our head? And when we were watching it, I said, well, that should have been a red flag. And,
Or you better be getting paid real well.
well, they actually, I mean, props to James Gunn, who is the writer, and he's from St. Louis, so he wrote it. And he actually, it was an explanation that I was like, okay, that makes sense. So Belko, the company, is actually based in Mexico. And they actually said, when like a new girl comes in, that's kind of the beginning, is a new girl coming in.
Yeah.
And she meets
Who's
with
that
the
girl?
it's Jess.
Okay.
And
Starring Zoe.
and she's so quirky, dude. So she's meeting with the boss, and the boss is like, "Oh, and you already got all your, your medical stuff done. You got the tracker implanted." And she's like, "Yeah, what? Yeah, what?" And he was like, "Well, no. I mean, I know you seem a little wary about that, but that's because, like, in this area of Mexico, especially since we're in a huge building, they could it can be you're at risk to be kidnapped."
I figured that's where you're going
Yeah,
with that.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, and they're so they do that just for their employees to be like, well, you're at high risk for this, so we're gonna put a tracker in you, so if you do get kidnapped, we know where you are. And
Or I guess too, then people, if any criminal knows anything, they would know not to try to kidnap somebody if they have like that badge on, because then they know like clearly this.
well,
person
maybe they're
is
just
being
walking
tracked.
around Mexico and they don't have the badge on, they get kidnapped.
I would keep that badge on.
Yeah, no, it's and so in my mind, I was like, okay, that's a good way to write that.
At least
thing
it was
off.
addressed.
Yeah, no,
Like,
it was
'cause,
100% addressed, which I was glad
Like
about.
even if it's
And-
poorly addressed, like, and I'm not saying that was necessarily poorly addressed, but like even if something like that is poorly addressed, it's like at least they realized that people were going to ask this question.
I think it was well enough addressed.
The boss is just like, because I
Um,
want to have my own digital Marauders map.
And so, I mean, 10 minutes into this movie, people are already getting their fucking heads blown off. Awesome. It does not mince words as far as to getting to people die. And so it's
How did it get that PG rating?
dude, I don't know. I thought it was G.
the same way Gremlins and
no,
Poltergeist
it's
did.
it's funny that Charlie mentions that, because I saw this with landlord Kevin, and we were walking in, and you know how some movie theaters, they have it's like you either go left or right, and then they have the signs that show what movies are in each auditorium.
Yep.
And they were like, okay, you're going to auditorium 9. And so we like turn and we go look at auditorium 9, and there's just a picture of Boss Baby right there. And then we walk up to the theater, and above the theater is a picture of Boss Baby, and we're looking at our ticket. We're like, oh shit! I mean, this is where it's supposed to be. And I look at Kevin and I say, if Boss Baby starts playing, and he goes, "We're seeing Boss Baby," and I said, "Exactly. I am talking about Boss Baby on this podcast. I am not leaving this auditorium and complaining."
So you were disappointed then, I'm guessing.
I actually kind of was, because I built my hype up. I thought
Your
I was.
entire day was now planned around.
Yeah,
seeing
yeah.
Boss
I mean,
Baby.
I was sitting in that theater and I was like, I'm seeing Boss Baby. And so in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm seeing. And then it started. I was like, oh, it's not Boss Baby. I think that's the only time
similar
that those
volumes of death in both movies.
well, I think that's the only time.
Wait,
those,
so that's just Alec Baldwin's career.
I think
I
that's
was-
the only time anybody was ever like, damn it, I didn't get
That's
to
what I was
see-
gonna
Oh,
say. That's the only time anybody has said that. Oh man, it's not Boss Baby.
Shit. Yeah, the only thing I might say that if it was like Boss Baby or The Nut Job.
or 9 Lives.
Oh yeah.
And and so
Then I'd be like, oh man, it's not bamboo toenail torture. Instead of
so this movie starts out. It quickly introduces some of the characters. So we got the guy from 10 Cloverfield Lane, and we got
His name's John Goodman.
no, the other guy, and we got Big Head from Silicon Valley. I don't know if you watched that.
I do not, but I've been thinking about it.
And you should. It's
know.
really good. So and we got some characters. I mean, Sean Gunn is in it as well. He plays like a pothead. And there's character actors that you would recognize, but off the top of my head, I honestly can't tell you what they've been in. They're faces that you would recognize.
They're that guys.
Yeah, exactly. Especially the like CEO of the place.
Okay.
So after a while, you find out. It comes. Oh, and what's his name? You got
John C. McGinley.
Troyer.
He's in it. J.C. McGinley, you're right. And Vern Troyer is not in it, but Vern Troyer.
Are you sure you didn't just miss him?
Vern Troyer stacked up on multiplied by 4 and stacked up as Mickey.
Rooney?
No, not Rooney.
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke. Yeah,
Mickey Rourke.
That's way more than 4.
No, not Mickey Rourke.
That's
Shit.
more than
Who's the
4,
guy in Guardians
dude.
of the Galaxy? Who's the bad guy? We were like, I guess he follows.
I know.
Why?
Isn't it Mickey Rourke?
No,
the
no.
bald
No,
guy.
it's
that-
not Mickey Rourke.
Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker. I knew it was an M.
I mean,
my
that's close.
brain
So,
shut
yeah.
down there for
Dude,
a second.
Same here. I was like, what the fuck? I know.
I'd like to see Mickey,
so we got-
Mickey Rourke play
Yeah,
Yondu.
and then the bones of Mickey Rooney.
The bones of Mickey
and,
Rooney as Yondu.
And then the guy,
Covered in
and then the guy who plays the Joker henchman in Dark Knight, who is the guy who they
I know who you're talking
yeah,
about.
they capture, and he has the name badge of Rachel on it, and they're
Yeah.
like, where is she? And it's not that part of the movie anyway. And they work together anyway. They very quickly in the movie, the intercom comes on, and they're like, hey, what up? Kill 7 people or 5 die, something like that. And they're like, what the fuck? It's just a troll, blah, blah, blah. And some people are like, we had intercoms? What is going on? and I just kind of burped into the mic, so that's staying. And
Neat.
they...
Production quality.
and so it's a lot of, like, debate on, like, is this real? Whatever. And it kind of builds into... only a couple people end up getting killed in this debacle. So not enough people get killed, and I don't. The people that do get killed are not really intentional. It's hard to explain. If you
Okay.
want to know, I can explain it later or now.
Just keep going for now.
And so then it comes to like, oh hey, you didn't kill enough people, and they're like, okay, whatever, and then just motherfuckers' heads start exploding. And it's kind of awesome. And they're like, oh, shit, this is real. And they're like, yeah, so now...
I mean, if they killed somebody, if they've been killing people, and they're like,
Well, no.
oh, God,
Now
it's
it's
real.
real.
Well, no. Again, the people that died, not only was it not totally intentional, but it was like in the fucking bowels of the company, like sewer checking on electricity stuff.
Oh, okay.
So it was, the people above ground did not
Didn't even
know
these
that these people died.
Okay.
And so it was... So then they're like, okay, so now kill 30 people or 60 people die. And they're like, well, fuck. And the CEO is like, apparently he's like ex-military, and he's like, okay,
They're always ex-military.
we need to get into. They have a like security like armory, which it's kind of it's not really explained, but it's kind of played off as they even mentioned like, well, they put this here, like the people they built up this experiment, they put this here for us to eventually try to get into and kill each other. But the security guard who has the keys to it is like, no, I'm not giving you the keys. Fuck that. And the guy's like, I'm your boss. He's like, then I fucking quit. Like, I'm not giving you those keys. You still don't have them. And so, like, J.C. McGill,
John C. McGinley.
yeah, Dr. Cox is Dr. Cox, not Kotz, is, you know,
You're so immature that you would go with Cots instead of
his
Cots, dude.
he's like blowtorching it with the CEO, and eventually they get the guns out, and they are basically like, hey, all the old people come forward. Hey, who has kids? All right, you go to that wall. And then they don't have enough of like people, and so they're just like randomly picking people without kids, and and they get like a fucking line of people, and somebody.
If someone's trying to kill people to stay alive, and someone's like, "Hey, who here has kids?"
I got like 10.
Yeah, no, exactly.
They're
It's like,
very needy. They're actually all have some sort of disability. They need me.
5 of them are in wheelchairs. The other 5 can't even speak.
But they push the wheelchairs around. we have them in sets of 2. One's the talker, one's the walker.
Well, no,
Let's go.
And so then there's like a scene where
Sounds like a fucking double dare game.
Yeah,
you don't want to get slimed on.
because his father is Mark Summers.
Yeah.
And then they're
Unwrapped.
they're unwrapped. No, then they're like doing this massacre of these people, and the electricity gets knocked out by another character that was still in the basement area, and bad shit madness happens. People get away.
Guano.
And then it turns out that they only killed like 29 people. They didn't kill 30 people. So then there's another.
So they lose 31 people to head explosions. Man.
And I mean, I counted.
That's what I call a rounding error.
I counted, and it was correct. And it was just a montage of motherfuckers' heads exploding.
Like the end of
Kingsman, but
Yes,
probably less
yes.
color.
Yeah, and then there is a after that they're like, okay, so there's only a certain amount of you left. The person with the most kills stays alive. Here's the board. Here's the leaderboard right now. And so it's just people killing each other because they're like, I gotta stay alive. And then it ends with the guy.
Only one person is going to live?
Yes.
Fuck.
And then
That is one intense game of King of the Hill.
Do you want me to just go straight into spoilers of this? Just like go full on.
Yeah, hit it.
And then it ends with you would have guessed that it would end with the guy from 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Right.
He is the last guy alive. And
The lone survivor.
yeah, and then they kind of
Wahlberg.
drag him off into the hangar area, which is kind of set up already as where they're doing their base of operations. And shit, I kind of already there's a part in the movie where Sean Gunn and another guy are taking out the bombs, the implants out of people that were shot and killed.
Right.
So the bombs are still there, and they take out a good amount of them. And then this guy actually kind of pockets them, and then he does kind of those things where he's like, "Oh, I bumped into you," and he plants it in there. And then he's getting interviewed by the guy. He's like, "Oh, well, blah blah blah," and he's like, "Fuck you guys," and they're like, "I mean, you got nothing. Why are you being such a dickhead?" And then he sees the switchboard of all the names, and he like kind of
Just slams them all.
yeah. He does one of those where he's just like throw shit,
Fucking
fuck,
kid in the
yeah,
elevator.
yeah,
Just
throw shit,
every floor.
distraction, throw shit, fuck you guys. Like every name but him. He stops at his name's like, oh fuck, nope. and they're all like, oh fuck, and they're all dying. And then and the way it ends is when he walks out, it shows like a security camera that's still on him. And it kind of does one of those pan outs, and it shows other like security feeds of all these other areas that went under the same quote unquote experiment.
Yeah.
And it's showing the like different ways
Real
that people
cabin in the
survived.
woods.
Yeah, kind of like that with all the different monsters, but something like that, and that's.
I was thinking about like the different locations because there was like the Japan site and.
Oh, okay, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, exactly. That kind of thing where it shows different.
Why can't we watch movies like that?
I mean, I did. It's called Belko Experiment. It's probably above
too.
Cabin in the Woods as my favorite movie ever.
Yep.
And it backs out of that, and it shows all those different. And there are some interesting. It is one of those where you see those different outcomes of just the one person, and you're kind of like, well, how did it end up like that? Where were they? Like, what's going on there? And it did a good job of intrigue. Like, well, wait, what is this? It's So. I mean, that's Belko Experiment with spoilers.
Yep.
I still got stuff to say about it, so it's all good.
No. So we're gonna go with step to Charlie real quick here. Charlie,
Okay.
since I think we're gonna get a decent out of both of these, but
And I said no nipples.
best kill in your movie.
Never mind, Charlie.
So Tyler, think you can get started
I
thinking
know
on
it.
that a little.
I already know it.
It's okay. All right. I still want to hear from Charlie first, just because.
No, I understand. I just went on for a while.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
also we're okay. You're ready?
So we're done stalling characters.
There's a cool scene at the end where the head of Sector 9, I think it's Sector 9. Forgive me, listeners, if you're big fans of it or whatever.
There is at least one listener that is freaking out.
Did you say
about it.
nerd?
I said one listener.
Oh, before that, I thought
Listen,
you said
nerd.
nerd, and I was like, "There's at least you're right. There's at least one nerd out there that's like."
Anyway, it's this old Asian guy. He's been in a shit ton of movies. I can't remember what his name is, but
I hope it's
everything.
Jimmy
Is it the guy from Godzilla? Ben?
No.
Is
No.
it Ben?
No, Ken Watanabe.
Ken.
No,
I
no,
knew it was
no,
a three.
This guy's older,
Okay.
older,
I knew,
white
it was,
hair.
I knew
and
it was a
shit.
3-letter name.
It's Jim.
Ian.
Jim. Everything's super high tech in the future, all that stuff, and really the landscape was very cool looking because there are multiple shots that go through the city. I would kind of describe it as like a
Chic.
no, more like Tim Burton's Gotham if it were futuristic and in Japan. If that makes sense.
So it's
with the huge structures and like the big art pieces
Yeah.
and stuff
It's
like
like
that.
Joel Schumacher Gotham as well, like a mix
Yeah.
of that kind of.
Sure, yeah. Actually, more of the Schumacher Gotham.
Gotcha. Because you see more of Gotham in Schumacher movies, honestly.
Yeah, and so everything is like, it's the latest technology, blah blah blah. And I guess we're getting into spoilers here, but the main
already
guy
spoiled my
who's
movie.
fucked up, who owns Honka, or he's like the person who is
Honka,
trying to
Honka.
get like Scarlett Johansson back, saying like, hey, no, she's a weapon. We need to use her as such, and blah blah blah. And we need to do these things that way we can make more people just like her. The guy who's the head of that just pulls out, and he had been showing it throughout the whole movie, just scenes, not like showing it off, but you see it throughout the whole movie. Just an old school 6-shooter, and it just is like, fuck you, and just boom, 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 lights this dude up, like spends a whole round on him. So it's just kind of cool to see the older guy. It was like a Western thing too, they're doing that like Mexican standoff, kind of walking around each other. So that was a neat one. I mean, there were cool kills when she's doing all her flips and acrobats and shit like that. But they all have like space guns, and they're not lasers, but they're cool guns. And then for him to just pull out a 6-shooter and just like light somebody up, fucking
just
like
fan the hammer on that
and
bitch.
just like hip shoot.
It felt different enough.
Yeah, and
It
he's
was-
like hip shooting that shit too. Just bam, 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 bam. I thought it was kind of cool.
And I think my best kill or favorite kill is it's similar to Charlie's in the sense that it's a different kill as far as the others in the whole movie. So either people are getting their heads blown up or they're getting shot. There's one that gets stabbed. My favorite kill
With a gun.
yeah. There and it.
Oh God,
It's so blunt.
There's one
we
dude
can't waste those bullets.
One dude gets killed by getting crushed by an elevator.
Nice.
That was probably the most brutal one. Not my favorite though. My favorite would be there's this. So near the end, the CEO bad guy knows where 10 Cloverfield Lane guy is. He's in the lobby. So he's like, all right. Well,
I feel like that's a really like. Oh man, I'm getting hired by CEO bad guy. I really want to work at this place. Like that might also be a red flag.
And so bad guy is like, oh well, I know that he knows he's at the lobby because the guy's girlfriend is like gets on the intercom and she's like, 10 Cloverfield Lane guy, come to the lobby. This is where I am.
Hey, that's me. Is John Goodman here? Fuck.
Where's Mary Elizabeth Winstead? And so he's in there, and there's also like a couple other people, and I think it's CEO bad guy has Molotov cocktails at one point, and he tosses it at the guy, and the guy's like, "Oh fuck!"
Brutal.
Like, dodge and roll, and it hits this old lady.
Oh my God.
And she just is like,
I'll see you guys later, I guess.
Wait, so the CEO is
'Cause
involved
that's a shoe
in
in
the
for me.
CEO is
hilarious.
involved in like this Hunger Games esque.
well, he's
thing.
involved in the sense that he wants to stay alive.
No, like what I'm saying is he's not the one orchestrating it. He's
No. The orchestration is done by some
Okay,
outside
I thought
party.
it was the company. Gotcha.
No, well, it's called the Belko experiment because it's at the Belko. It could be the company, but he is not.
like someone
Gotcha.
higher up than him.
Yeah, because it's some like as far as I understood it, it's some like almost SWAT team that is holed up in this the hangar across the street, and they have all their equipment there, and they even sent at the beginning of the movie they send people home who don't have their medical records fully out, which means they don't have the plant in the back of their head. And stuff like that. So
Really lucked out there.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
And they were like, "Man, I'm not going to get insurance." In reality, they get to live.
But yeah, I mean that old lady burning alive was hilarious. So that's my favorite kill of the movie. And it was
He usually only gets to watch that shit on Live Leak, never in the big screen.
exactly. And so it was different enough that it was
Next week, there's a news story that's like burning.
well, not even next week. The day or the day of this podcast gets released.
Heard it here first.
Are we accessories of a crime now?
Me
Not
and
yet.
Charlie are.
So yeah, I think it was different enough, and it was a good change of pace. I mean, that sounds silly, but in a movie where like there's going to be a lot of kills, like having something that's
Mixing
just,
it up.
Yeah, mixing it up is
It's like that first episode of Dawson's Creek where they're deciding on whether or not they should watch the Towering Inferno or Poseidon Adventure. I'm like, well, there's more deaths in
Like that.
dude, exactly.
There's
like,
more There's more deaths in Towering Inferno, but all the deaths in Poseidon Adventure are way more interesting.
Yeah, no, I remember
I would
that.
go with Poseidon Adventure personally.
That episode is so ingrained in my mind. It's almost like I've never even saw it.
It's literally the first scene in that entire show.
It's almost like I never even saw it.
Actually, I don't know if it's the first scene in the entire show. I just, for some reason, that scene stuck out.
I'm glad you said
And-
that because that stops somebody from typing an angry comment.
Yeah. But I will also say that that was just on theme of shows that are
James
decades
Vanderbeek?
just shows that are decades out of circulation.
So what else you got for us?
Yeah, what else? I mean, we answered what you got.
I was going to ask once again my standard question: what is something from the movie that you feel would have added something to the trailer to make you that you think would have made you want to see it, or would be like just a good thing to bring in? And it doesn't have like probably not something spoilery or something that like would get
Who do you
too
want
old.
from first?
I got mine ready to go.
Same here. Yeah, we're good.
Well, I'll take Charlie first because
yeah,
we
go
keep
for it.
I
getting
would
in these
say-
situations where Tyler talks for a very long. Like there's a lot of banter in Tyler's things.
I talk a lot.
For me, less action, more of the moral quandary.
More okay. I
That's
respect
easy.
like
I mean, that's like the heart of the story anyway. Instead of the whole trailer being like her standing over somebody she just punched in the water and then jumping off a building and then shooting some people. Like, okay, it's still an action. movie, but-
I do think that's like a pretty big problem in marketing for movies now.
Yeah.
Where like it seems like they're afraid to
That's-
say what the movie's about.
That's interesting that's what Charlie would do because mine would be less seriousness, more comedy.
okay.
Because I mean, honestly, you got written by James Gunn on the screen in the trailer,
Right.
And you're trying to pull this off as a serious horror movie. Like, I mean, not saying. I mean, James Gunn is the kind of guy. I mean, everybody's seen Guardians of the Galaxy, at least. I mean, some people out there have seen Super, and the guy is great with comedic writing,
I
and
agree.
especially with action stuff. And this movie had a lot of comedic moments. And, I mean, you got Sean Gunn in there who, I mean, he ad-libbed a lot of great Rocket Raccoon lines while he was CGing him, which is hilarious to me to think that some full-grown man was standing there as Rocket Raccoon during the filming of that movie.
Oh, so like
But-
I didn't realize that. So like he would just say things while talking. And
Well,
then,
he was
and
the
then Bradley Cooper had to like.
Well, he was the stand-in, so
Right.
he would recite the lines. But I don't know how many there were that were ad-lib. But the one specific one I know was when they were all standing up, and he said, "So we're all just gonna stand here like a bunch of assholes" or something like that. I'm probably butchering that line, but it's something along that line that Sean Gunn ad-libbed, and then James Gunn was like, yeah, no, Bradley, say that line because I like that kind of thing. Yeah. And it definitely has a lot more humor than that trailer would have. Oh, shit. I'm glad you sneezed in the mic so we could bring up that you dabbed on everybody.
I wouldn't hear
it.
I would never sneeze directly on
Chew!
Well, that's the one Tyler's using
no.
next week.
Oh, no. My headphones fell off. Okay. And, yeah, I mean, I just feel like it's crazy to think that not even when we were watching the trailer we thought about it. That it was like, it's written by James Gunn, but the dude he knows more comedy than he does just straight up horror. And he had, not saying that there wasn't a lot of like suspenseful moments or action moments, but there was a lot of comedic moments. And I would say I would have added more of those comedic moments into the trailer.
All right, okay, that's good. All right, so time for the non-serious question. We've, on our podcast, somehow the most watched director is, in fact, Tyler Perry. So my question to you would be, I mean, because we've had one.
Guess technically,
we've had one Tyler Perry. We've had 2 Tyler Perry episodes, one of which we each watched 3 of his movies.
Whoa, shit! I didn't know there were that many.
Where we each watched a movie. And then we watched Boo and Medea Halloween. So we've had 6 Tyler Perry films on the podcast, which I can't imagine that another director has had more.
No, the next closest would be UA Bowl, and we've only seen 2 of it.
So my question is, what character in your movie would you replace with Tyler Perry as Medea?
Wait, it has to be Tyler Perry as Medea.
Yes.
Oh, yikes, Steve. I was pulling up IMDb to pull up character names.
I mean...
And you just threw me that curveball.
It's too easy to say that I would just have her play Scarlett Johansson's character, but that really would be the best because of how many times they're like, well, aren't you gorgeous? And they're like, wow, they sculpted you with the perfect body. And the whole intro scene when they're making her body... Because it starts out with like the robotic skeleton and some goo, and then it's like dipped in the skin. So seeing like that body.
No, you're saying this, and now I'm imagining that it's Medea, and I can't stop laughing.
And her doing like the diving off the back of a building and like busting through the window on the side and like running up a wall shooting people. That'd be pretty funny.
All right.
Okay. And
but
feel
each time she'd pull the gun out of her purse.
And there would have to be some kind of rape joke or serious rape plot line.
Except for this time, it'd have tentacles or something, right?
She would have to flip a coin. What was Dr. Cott's actor's name again?
John C. McGinley.
Okay, I was right. Okay, so John C. McGinley is, I would say his character would be replaced by Medea. Okay. And because of the fact that that character does a... kind of not really a 180. He's always kind of just like creepy or weird. And then when the CEO is like, "We're killing everybody," he's kind of like, "Yeah, no, I'm with this guy. Let's get these guns and let's fuck everybody up." And I feel like Medea would be like, "Oh, honey, oh lordy, my head is not blowing up." It's like
Medea doesn't even need to go get. He just pulls the gun out of her.
He's
like, let's go get these other guns.
Fuck that armory.
You need to kill 5 people, and if you don't.
Yeah. So
it's like I love that video online at the Box parody of.
I was just gonna say that.
The Box, that movie where it's like,
yeah.
You hit this button, you'll get $1 million. No.
In the parody, it's if you hit this button somewhere on Earth would die, and it's like immediately.
It's like you don't know them. They just keep pressing it up.
Yeah, right. I forgot that so much. That shit is quite funny.
And they're like, so do I get a $1 million each time, or is it?
No.
The best part is it's like
they keep
someone
it
on the world that you don't know. Like, oh, I don't even know. Like, it's not gonna be one. Like, it's exempt from my friends.
That's why he says you get $1 million. You press it. No, hold on. Someone on Earth dies. Boom. Presses it. He goes, someone you don't know. He just like keeps pressing it. Yeah, no, that's a great parody video. I had forgotten about that until you guys brought it up.
That's pretty old too.
It's a classic.
I tell people about that like all the time.
Yeah, that video is awesome. So yeah, Medea would replace the box, and she would be it would be her box.
Oh, God.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm surprised none of you. I'm surprised
knew-
neither of you thought I was gonna say
No,
that.
I knew you
Well,
were gonna
no,
say
I-
it, but I still have to react like I didn't because I'm the reasonable one here.
No, I knew.
Well, I more thought
mean,
of just like her laying there and then just hitting her, but then not specifically her vagina.
But now you have.
Huh?
You're welcome. So, Steve, we gave you our answer.
Tyler, final thoughts.
This is gonna sound. I mean, I loved that this movie just did not mince words. Pretty much, like I said, it was 10 minutes in, and
It was
people
10
were
minutes long.
people were dying. And it was less than an hour and a half long. I'm not even gonna be. It was like an hour and 20 minutes or something. And I feel like that is you could not have made this movie longer. Because it was the perfect amount of time. You could not have done the setup longer. It was the perfect amount of
It was
time.
a perfect movie.
Because it was something where you're how sometimes you're watching.
No, I get it. Like the whole premise kind of wears thin, or just kind of like
Yeah,
breaks if
and
you take too long.
you
If
know
you
how-
spend enough time thinking about it, and if you spent too much time talking it up, or doing the end part, or doing something in the middle, you just be like, all right, is this?
Well, and I actually thought while watching it, I was like, man, they're gonna they're gonna need to start this shit soon. Like, I feel like this is gonna start, and then all of a sudden the intercom came on. And it's like, you need to kill, and I was like, oh, okay,
and that's good because usually
yeah.
those movies do have a problem of like spending the first third on the
Yeah,
setup.
I was expecting
Like-
like 20 to 30 minutes
Like
of
we get it, like
character development.
Yeah, like we get a
and-
real good love story with the main character and just some girl, like his cubicle mate, or just like the girl down
I mean,
the hall, like
there was a love story, but they were able to just
not give a shit about
yeah,
it.
and the thing, I mean, this is a testament to James Gunn's writing, where he introduced characters as the movie went on, and it still worked. Like even the guy who plays Big Head in Silicon Valley, he was introduced like the latest, and it was while the intercom came on, and his character was still like, oh, it's kind of funny, and it's whatever, and it worked out. The length of the movie, typically something that short is like, oh god, this movie couldn't even make the hour and a half mark. But I honestly don't see how you can make this kind of movie make an hour and a half mark.
Charlie, final thoughts.
My movie was 3 hours long.
No, I think
And
mine,
all of it
I
was
think-
an in-depth discussion
I
on
think
ethics
mine
and
was
morale.
about 2 hours. I think
I
maybe
would imagine a movie
maybe
like
a hair
that would
over.
be close.
I had never seen any of the anime or whatever beforehand. There's probably like a manga of it or two or something by now, I would think.
And
But
I think even a TV show.
either way, yeah, there's more stuff to it. I would think that if you liked that, as long as you weren't a hardcore, like it has to be this 100% way or else
like
die,
the purist.
I would think that you would enjoy being able to see this stuff because
Yeah, as long as you understand that they have to, like, when making something live action, you have to change shit.
you got to
have
change
to
some stuff. You got to be able to compress the story. But well, I guess the other movie still it was still one movie.
Yeah, but it was also an anime, and you.
Yeah, you just got to change some stuff to change it into live action, but like get rid of all the drawings and put in real people.
Exactly. To do the exact same thing.
But it was entertaining.
They just green screened it.
It was
and it was just
entertaining
Scarlett
enough.
Johansson
I
like
mean-
put over.
All the animation.
Yeah, like they just sync her up perfectly with the animated character.
It was cool. I mean, that's just not really my thing, but it was enough. Normally, I'm not into anime and all that stuff, and whatever. If you are, no big deal to me. But it was still good enough to keep me entertained. So I guess if that's good in a sense that if it were some of the anime shit, holy hell, I'd walk out of that shit or quit the podcast.
Oh,
no, I wouldn't
shit.
do that. But I'm not a fan of anime generally.
Note.
I
To sell.
I agree with Charlie. I'm not.
Next time it's Steve's channel. Today we're doing anime movies.
There's some stuff that, like, I mean, I started One Punch Man, and that was cool, but then I found out that they took off the English dub, and they were like trying to fix it, and I was watching it, and there's the like subtitles, and I watched like half of the episode, and I was still kind of like, oh, this is kind of funny, this is because it's almost like a parody of
No,
anime.
I love One Punch Man.
And but then I was like, man, why is there not an English dub? And I looked it up, and they're like, oh, they're fixing it, and I was like, oh, well, then I'll wait. But,
No,
but
I think One Punch Man is super hilarious.
I do agree that anime and actually cartoon stuff in general. There are exceptions to the rule. I mean, one of my favorite shows is BoJack Horseman. So there are exceptions, but
That's not anime to me though.
it's Flash. It's Flash cartoon, so it's not even.
No, but I mean, anime
No, I know.
itself. Is
I
its
said
own genre.
I said
Yeah.
animated in
Yeah.
general. Like
That's different. I'm
it's-
fine with the animated.
Yeah, it's hit or miss for me, and mostly miss. And then anime, yeah, I agree with you, Charlie.
So yeah, I mean, that's just not really my thing, but it was entertaining enough. The world was cool looking. I mean, it's something that if they made a sequel, I would probably see, depending on if, I mean, it looked good in trailers and stuff. The action was solid. Characters were well developed to the point where you care about some of them, and yeah.
All right, cool. All right, I think I've made my decision, and I think I'm going to go with Tyler and the Belko Experiment on this one.
Yeah.
Choice.
Sounds like Charlie's segueing directly into his real thoughts.
Yeah, let's hear
No,
it.
but basically before we do that, I'm just gonna say like I didn't know that there was that Belko Experiment was as much of a comedy, and Tyler bringing that up kind of really moved me in that direction. And I mean that's basically what clinched it, was it being sounding more like a comedy, and a dark comedy is something that I do enjoy. So
Or just because it sounded like it wasn't this.
damn. Okay, and anyway, Charlie, just,
A little bit
let's
of
just hear
column
your
A, a
real-
little bit of column B. You
Let's
know.
just hear your real thoughts, because man, it sounds like it's going real
I really
bad.
hate anime, and I don't give a shit. Just like watching a movie, I didn't want to see this before I was assigned to it, so I was already like, man, fuck. Or I guess I actively didn't want to see this. Whereas Belko Experiment, it's like, I just don't even know. I have no opinion either way to this.
Right.
This is like, there was one point where I was like, maybe I will see it. Then I saw more trailers. Like, yeah, no. That's not for me. So the combination of the not wanting to see it and just not giving a fuck about what it was about, and just, I did almost fall asleep at one point in the movie, and it got back up. I was like, oh, okay, whatever.
Ouch.
I just don't care. I mean, some people might like it. I can see why some people would like it, but it is just not for me. And it was pretty boring.
All right. Okay.
In Charlie's defense, I almost fell asleep during my movie, but that's because I saw it at
Came so many times.
Yeah,
No,
so I was
I'm sorry.
exhausted.
Tyler, you were like either laying down or had moved something to fix something, and as you started talking,
I was laying down.
no, but you just like popped up into my vision out from like behind Charlie, and like, well, Charlie,
I knew what I was doing, and I mean, I only almost fell asleep because it was like, well, we went to a 10:00 showing because it was the last showing at the closest theater to us. Again, I saw it with landlord Kevin, and it was. I was saying this off air, and wait, was I saying the boss baby thing off air?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
on air.
Oh, I did. I said it on air.
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't even matter. I almost fell asleep during this a couple times, and that's also why I was glad it was short, because I was like, oh my god, I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. It's like 11:00 at night by this point. And I was like, wait, no, I know this movie's only an hour and 22 minutes. Like, okay, so there's
so with trailers and everything, you were there until midnight.
a little bit before midnight, so probably 11:45 or 11:40. Thank you, Charlie. I almost kicked over my drink. And it was it still wasn't a bad movie. I don't necessarily think it was a good movie. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I can't tell you how many times I've said that almost exact phrase.
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't know if I would have intentionally gone and seen it. And I don't know if I would watch it again.
It falls into the classic Steve. I'm not upset I watched it, but I don't see myself doing it again.
Yeah, it was one of those where I was leaving the theater and I was just like, well, I mean, I saw that movie. It's whatever. There were some moments that were just so. I mean, you could tell it was low budget at points. Like when they walk outside of when 10 Cloverfield Lane guy gets dragged outside of the company, you could tell that it was just a studio green screen that they were dragging him out of, and it was all fake. And every time that he was standing outside of that area, it was just. I mean, at the same time, I said I could tell. I don't know if your I'm not putting myself above that, but I don't know
mean-
if your average movie goer could tell. But I was like, oh, that's it was good green screen, but I could tell it was green screen. Green screen.
And for those of you listeners who think Tyler's a high and mighty douche right now, he has worked in that particular part of the field, I believe.
Yeah, I mean,
A movie like that, man, it makes you think, like, couldn't you just find a damn warehouse?
yeah. And the thing is, it was only a couple scenes. It was, and I think that's what made it stand out to me because everything else was indoors.
Yeah.
Right.
It was in a building. And I mean, all the acting was really good, and the comedy did kind of hit. I think the main thing that I would complain about is there weren't really that many just creative kills. Like, I know that sounds weird. Just
mundane shoots. And,
it was
explosions.
people's heads exploding and people getting shot in the head, and then one guy got stabbed, and
Molotov cocktail granny.
Molotov cocktail.
Molotov cocktail granny.
And then you didn't ask, but Michael Rooker was the first one to die in the movie.
Really?
And he got bashed the fuck in by a giant wrench by Joker henchmen.
Nice.
Like, so much
Wow.
so that it showed him, and his head was caved in. And he was like he was like, did you just... You could tell he was like fucked up. He was like, did you... What happened?
So
and
basically
he's
like
like-
that later half of Super.
I've never seen Super.
Oh, you
No.
sorry, I just
That's
assumed
why I
you
said
had.
someone out there has.
I
someone
never have.
someone in here has.
That's why I never said it.
But I mean, yeah, but it wasn't bad. It honestly,
was.
it felt like it was. It felt like it was James Gunn sent a studio a script, and they just took that first. He wrote it without rereading it, without editing it, sent his first draft in, and they're like, buy it. Well, that's Guardians of the Galaxy guy we got right there, and they made it. It felt like a first draft script, and that's not anything a slight against James Gunn. It just felt like nobody went back into it and went like,
That'd be funny if he was planning on putting in more creative skills if the script got picked up. So he's just like, this kill this person, kill this person. They're like, oh, I guess we'll just say shoot him.
yeah, no,
The script says kill him, so we've got gun like that. Like it's easy to gun.
yeah, it really felt like a first draft script made into a movie, and yeah, but that still doesn't make it awful. It just wasn't really that good.
I mean, still sounds like I made the right choice.
Oh yeah.
Based on
I think,
Charlie
like-
just repeatedly
I think
saying
that-
my movie
and
was bad.
I think I would always rather watch, and feel free to agree or disagree with me, like a shitty or mediocre horror movie than like a shitty or mediocre movie that's
Sci-fi movie.
trying to be deeper.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I
ugh.
agree. There's
Shitty
really
horror
no
movie can still be like, that person
there-
getting their head crunched in.
there was
cool.
really no deep thing about this movie because even the Belko experiment, like what they were doing, all they said were they were like, oh yeah, we're just testing this out. Like they didn't even say like, oh,
Why we're-
we're seeing if humans really do that. It was just, oh yeah, we're doing a test. Like that was pretty much the explanation of what they were doing.
And then at the end, it's they bring the guy into the room, and it's just a blind cola
Well, no,
taste test
it was
challenge.
it was a scantron, and he had to answer all the
All the questions.
yeah, and they really fucked with him because they were all C.
I
And-
can't express to you how badly I wish I was. I almost wanted to become a teacher so I
that's-
could do that to a
And
class.
and that's why he killed all of them.
Don't get me wrong, though. The concept with the movie is fine. I'm sure that there's something.
talking about
There's
Ghost in the Shell?
Yeah, there's a reason why that's such a success. I mean,
Out of curiosity, would you consider would you consider watching the anime with that concept, thinking that it's
The
also-
original one that's
I mean,
so held
I've
high.
considered
Yeah.
it before just because of how like praised it is.
Yeah, same.
So I mean, yeah, I'm not opposed to it. I just
Okay, I just wondering
don't
if
it.
if it was so
No,
bad that
the
it turned
concept
you
is
off.
solid. I mean, I get why it's popular for sure. I understand it. It's important questions and stuff like that. So and it's only becoming more and more relevant as time goes on. So
Right. Okay.
For sure. So, since Charlie's talking about it right now, Ghost in the Shell is currently sitting at a 46% on Rotten Tomatoes with a 5.6 out of 10 average review out of 205 reviews. There are 94 fresh and 111 rotten. Critics' consensus is Ghost in the Shell boasts, cool visuals and a compelling central performance from Scarlett Johansson, but the end result lacks the magic of the movie's classic source material. Charlie?
I haven't seen the original one, so I don't know. But
Out of curiosity, Tyler, check up the Rotten Tomatoes score of the original.
All right, yeah. Can you guys stall for a second while I do that?
Sure. I just I opened my phone to see some stuff, and I saw that The Fate of the Furious is on track to take the opening weekend record from The Force Awakens.
That's
Seriously?
actually fucking awesome.
If anything is going to do it, it'd be that.
Yikes. Okay,
Because
so
globally, those movies, holy fuck, dude.
So the original Ghost in the Shell is at a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, 7.6 out of 10. Only 45 reviews on this one, but that's 43 fresh and 2 rotten. Critics
What are the rotten
consensus-
ones, by chance, if you don't mind?
Rotten. Oh, yeah. Well, let me get the critics' consensus of the original.
No.
A stunning feat of modern animation, Ghost in the Shell offers a thoughtful, complex treat for anime fans, as well as a perfect introduction for viewers new to the genre. And this is this came out in '96. So the 2 rotten ones, if I can find those here in just a second, I gotta click that button and then click over here to. Critics, and then okay, so we got conjures up a dazzling futuristic cityscape that sadly is not matched by the human landscapes at the heart of the story. That's
That still doesn't sound terribly bad.
yeah, that's one of the
Especially if
two.
you're into animes, even if the story isn't good, if the animation is just good.
Right.
Yeah, especially, and then the other one is ultimately Ghost in the Shell remains a hard sell with sluggish pacing and sloppy storytelling, effectively smothering the strengths of this lackluster effort.
Oh, the geisha robots were pretty cool when they swapped
Were they?
into like spider mode.
And we're moving back to the Scarlett Johansson live action version. A rotten review is Ghost in the Shell is visually compelling but tone deaf.
And that
Yeah.
because there's that whole thing of like people being really angry of Scarlett Johansson playing the character.
Yeah, but yeah.
Is the character even Asian in the?
Honestly, if
Or shouldn't she-
I don't know.
To me, it'd be more interesting if you just left it open. You don't know what the fuck she is. Just make her look like a goddamn robot.
Yeah,
I would just bleach her skin like completely, like almost like albino or
just
something.
like yeah.
if I remember the original
Something not
with
normal. Well, I don't mean to say that. Like, well, no, I won't take that back. It's not normal. It's something where it's
Yeah,
like, but
it's
it's not
an
designated to like one. She's not white. She's not black.
yeah.
She's not.
Right. I'm pretty sure
you mean.
like she with her hair dyed dark like that, she looks fairly similar to the character in the anime.
Yeah, from the stills
Yeah.
I saw with like the hair, the style and stuff.
Well, and then you
and
get
they
in that
play it
whole-
off too. Sorry, when they're making her character, like making her body, so it's the skeleton, then it's like dipped in this like white milk. So it almost seems like that's what they use to make the body,
Right.
and then that kind of just like dries on, and then it kind of breaks off, and that's what is left. And they play her pretty pale in there.
And then
but-
you get in the whole argument of if they cast a non-Hollywood actor, then they wouldn't have made money, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Same reason why
Should have been Ken Watanabe, though. You're
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah, the whole Matt Damon
Yeah,
thing.
the Matt Damon thing. Like he wasn't even he was the main character, but he wasn't playing a character that's an Asian
Correct.
person should have been playing. And that was like a Chinese movie. Like that was the first big like
Well, there's
worldwide China movie.
There's actually a video
Other
going
than
around
Balls
on.
of Fury.
Well, yeah.
There's a video going around on Facebook or something where it's a guy in Japan asking people if they thought Scarlett Johansson was the right choice for the character in Ghost in the Shell, and most of them didn't care. They're like, yeah, she looks good. Like,
And
I don't give a shit.
I don't know.
but
It's
probably because I
it's
don't
a-
care about the material too.
It's a big debate that I don't exactly think we should weigh in on the podcast,
Yeah,
but something
I know.
that I still
I
thought
kind
is
of,
relevant to bringing up.
I kind of agree with you, Steve. A fresh review is in Hollywood's hands. Ghost in the Shell manages to be both dazzling and a little dumb. I feel like that is what you were kind of getting across, Charlie. It's weird
Less
that that's
dumb. We're just boring to me.
Here's a rotten review. It gets bogged down in aesthetics that are stimulating only for the sake of stimulation, seemingly without a flicker of thought behind them. Shell, indeed, but there's no ghost at home.
And it's not boring because, like, oh, well, he just doesn't get the concept. No, I get that. That's the more interesting part of it. It's a lot of
Yeah.
the action stuff was boring.
You said the visuals, like
yeah. That did look cool for the most part. I mean,
yeah, and then Belko experiment is actually the exact same percentage, 46%, 5.2 out of 10, as opposed to the 5.6 out of 10. But only 61 reviewers, 28 fresh, 33 rotten. Critics' consensus is the Belko experiment offers a few moments of lurid fun for genre enthusiasts, but lacks enough subversive smarts to consistently engage once the carnage kicks in. And I feel like that's kind of what I was getting across, that there wasn't enough variety in the carnage, and there was still fun there, but it wasn't it wasn't, you know.
It was a little flat.
Yeah. A fresh review is vicious, mostly satisfying action. The mostly satisfying part was funny to me. A rotten review is the unsatisfying result of all the berserk paranoia is predictable. Talk about a take no prisoners plot. And then let's get another.
They couldn't take prisoners because if they took prisoners and didn't kill them, they would die.
Oh, they're gonna make a joke about the movie Prisoners.
So Hubert Jackman and Paul Dano walk into a bar, and then Hugh Jackman kidnaps Paul Dano and tortures him inside of a shower where he can only see through a tiny little slot.
I have never seen this movie.
Oh, really? You should. I mean, it's pretty good, and it's the same director who is directing the Blade Runner movie.
Oh, wow.
So, and who directed Arrival. So
Damn.
I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not going to try to say it. But no, Prisoners is pretty good, and it's a real interesting look at like what someone will do for their child.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, and I love Paul Dano. I mean, Paul Dano is a fucking great actor, and he does a great. I mean, have you seen it?
No, I was just thinking about that. What you said about the children made me think of the Mickey Rooney biopic.
What a man will do for the children in front of him.
What a man. What a man. What a mighty good man.
Wow, Steve.
Yeah,
Fuck,
wow.
dude.
And then another fresh review
We
is
need to alert the authorities.
you think of Dilbert 1 minute, the new Nuremberg.
And you still do the next.
The Nuremberg? I don't know what that is.
Nuremberg trials.
Yeah, it says the Nuremberg.
Nazis
the
at the end of
Nuremberg.
World War
Yeah,
II,
the Nuremberg.
right?
Yeah.
The Nuremberg defense. The next. No.
Oh, yeah. Just
Really?
following orders.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Its origins are in the Stanford experiment. How long would it take you to become a killer?
Yeah, I feel like that's what this movie was trying to be, but a bootleg version of that. Whereas the Stanford one is really interesting, actually.
I've never heard of
prisoner
it.
experiment?
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah.
heard of it.
Oh, dude, the prisoner experiment's messed up.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah,
Same with,
they made a movie
listeners.
about it, but it's a real thing, right?
It's called
Yeah,
Belko experiment.
this guy.
Stanford prison experiment.
Yeah, this guy basically just took two groups of people and put them in this place and was like, "You are prisoners and you are guards." And the experiment. What?
You're a prisoner. You're a guard. Go.
Yeah, and it ends with when it ended because at some point someone who was a guard ended up breaking a prisoner's arm because they went full on crazy it was a test to see how much authority goes to someone's head.
Yeah,
And all of the prisoners started getting really shy, and all of the guards started getting really aggressive. And
I'm sure the movie embellishes some stuff. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I've just read about it.
Interesting. I'll have to look into that. I've never heard of it. So that's yeah.
It's an animated movie.
It's an anime.
Yeah.
Pixar. Made by Studio Ghibli.
That fucking. Oh, I was gonna say that goddamn Planet Pizza truck is still in it though.
and Lightning
McQueen.
They're Queen.
Come on, dude.
I was thinking McCree, and I was like, that's not right. That's Overwatch.
Nah, and it's actually he's not in it. It's Mater.
It's actually Dory.
I'll stick with Mater.
Who's Mater?
Larry the
It's
Cable
Larry
Guy.
the
Cable
Cable
Guy's
Guy.
character in Cars.
All right. Well, those are the Rotten Tomatoes scores, and we are. Is that everything?
I believe. Yeah, all we
I always
got
feel
left
like-
is our shout-outs.
Yeah, I feel like I always forget stuff. So, other than that, Charlie, did you have something to say?
Oh nope.
Okay. In
I'm
that
easy.
case,
And I don't have anything to say.
Shout out to the. I mean, you're already on my bed, so it's shout out to the Three Wise Media Podcast, our sexy cousin podcast, and or is it Three Wise? It's Three Wise Radio, isn't it? I don't know. Either way, shout out to them and the Three Wise Media Group for kind of sponsoring or putting on
Our patron saint.
Our patron saint. Yeah, that's what date is the Three Wise Media Day where we all get drunk and
I don't know.
it's every Sunday whenever we record.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, you can check us out on YouTube, Facebook. You can get the link at Movie Versus Podcast. Our Twitter, Gmail, Movie Versus Podcast at Gmail. We're also on pretty much any podcast app.
Hey, y'all, I just got a Vine, so.
Charlie just installed Vine
still doesn't
somehow.
It's not working though.
So check Charlie out on Vine. He's under Vin Diesel, and
That is true.
Yeah, that's true.
Omarion, I know you're listening. I tricked you. I got you, you dumb son of a bitch.
And we'll explain off air, Steve, because I want the listeners to just kind of piece that together themselves. And other than that, we Twitter, Facebook, Gmail, YouTube is Three Wise Media. Do we have any? Oh, thank you to Jeremy Lamb for the intro. Thanks to Scott Blackwell for the image. What else we got, boys? You got anything else?
Thanks to viewers and listeners like you.
Especially the viewers.
Also, Good Bad or Bad.
Yeah, check them out. They're great.
Another associate.
And when this comes out, they would have released a new episode within the last week. I think they do every other Friday, so this will be before. This sounds confusing as fuck. It doesn't matter. When this releases, they have a new episode out that's about a week old.
Just go check them out
If
and then
Mercury's
watch
in retrograde.
Just go to their YouTube page, check them out. There will be videos for you to watch.
If it's not in retrograde, just chug some Mercury.
Yep.
Don't do
Action
that.
and
No.
a call of action to all our listeners.
Chug You can't. Do you know how hard it is to find mercury now?
Get a
They don't even have,
thermometer.
do you know how hard it is to find
bunch
a
of them.
mercury thermometer now?
They don't make those anymore?
Not usually.
like
Not
you.
really.
They're,
Oh,
you
well,
basically,
shit, I gotta take back my thermometers.
You
I
pretty
bought
much-
that
you
whole
pretty
box of thermometers.
Yeah, those are digital, Tyler.
Damn it.
You pretty much have to get mercury thermometers from like a science lab supply thing, and like you don't
'Cause
just
I guess
get
they're
them
still
easy.
used for that.
So hit
for
up your
putting in,
chemistry teacher
stuff.
or email Steve, and he'll be your mercury plug.
No. No, I will not.
You hear that, Steve School?
Bye.
Movie Versus is a production of Three Wise Media. For more information, check us out on Facebook.